Hello, 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 and welcome back to Adults After Dark. My name is Mimi, and I am your host for the evening. Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's conversation. I also want to thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel and who have been keeping up with the conversations that have been airing each week. If you don't know, these conversations will air every Friday, 7 p.m. This is an adult conversation. We talk all things adult here. So, if you are listening to this, please put in your earbuds, your headphones. If you have children present, please do not listen in front of children because, like I said, we will be talking adult conversations and the language may be inappropriate. So, tonight's conversation is: are you a friends with benefits? Are you in a friends with benefits relationship? Have you ever been a friends with benefits? Do you have a friend with benefits? So, if you don't know what that term means, friends with benefits, it is two people that are intimate with each other, but they are not involved with each other as in a relationship. Okay. So they are in a physical relationship, a sexual relationship, but they are not committed to one another. So they may call one another up and say, hey, what you doing? Let's, get together. And it's just strictly that. It's strictly physical, nothing else, no strings attached, or nothing. So, have you had those relationships? Have you ever been in those relationships? Comment down below. Now, for me, I have been in friends with benefits relationships. I've actually had, I want to say three. So the story that I told you guys the past couple of weeks about the guy that I was dating for 14 years, we had eventually broke up. I wasn't seeing anybody on a regular basis, but at my job, the job that I was working at the time, I did meet a guy and we became pretty close and we became physical, we became intimate, and we actually were that way for quite a while. This relationship had got so involved. I guess I can say, I guess that's a good term, that he ended up moving in with me. But it was always clear that we were not dating. We were not boyfriend and girlfriend. You're living in my house for a little while. You're paying me rent. You out doing your thing, I'm out doing my thing. But when we want to be with each other, then we be with each other. So that lasted probably a good 3 years, I want to say. Because he lived with me for 2. He lived with me for 2 years. And when he moved in, we made it clear that, this is what it's going to be. If you want to go out and do your thing, then that's fine. I'm going to go out and do my thing, and that's fine. Now, me, I wasn't messing around with anybody else but him. Now, when he left, I don't know who else he was messing around with. But when he came home, it was us. Now, we didn't live like boyfriend and girlfriend. I wasn't playing house with him. I wasn't doing the girlfriend wifey things with him. If I cooked, I cooked for everybody. Um, you had to help keep the house clean. You lived there, so these are the things that you had to do. But when it was time to become physical, we were physical. And that's just how it was, and we had that understanding. Now, we made it clear that this is all it was going to be. So, when he moved out, we still were friends with benefits. And he eventually moved on. I eventually moved on. But we stayed in contact with each other. And I've known him for I want to say about 25 years now. Yeah, I think it's been about 24, 25 years now. Now, we're still friends, but there's no benefits. He may call or text every once in a while. I may call or text him every once in a while. And in my phone is his actual name and his actual number, so I'm not hiding anything. My husband has access to my phone. He knows the password. If you want to go through the phone, then he can do that. It's not an issue. So, like, I'm not hiding anything or none of that. So, yeah. So like I said, we still talk every once in a while. It's nothing of the sexual nature or none of that. And it was just what it was. And another guy, me and one of my girlfriends had went club hopping one night, and she ran into an old friend of hers, and we all hung out. The three of us hung out, and he was like, I want to go hang out with my other guy, so he called, and we all end up over his house, and we kicked it, and he was another friends with benefits. Now, with him, he started having feelings, and I didn't know it, but he started having feelings for me. He didn't say anything. And when I met my now husband, I told him, that this relationship, it has to end. And I told him, because I met somebody I'm really interested in, and, I want to see where this goes. And he was like, wait a minute, but you my baby. I'm like, wait, hold on. This wasn't discussed. We, just did what we did. I call you up, you call me up. We can probably spend the night with each other, go hang out or whatever. But whatever we did, we always end up in the bed. Even he stayed, he stayed a few blocks from my job. And I will call him up, hey, what you doing? You working today? He was like, nah, so I'll be over there on my lunch break. And it was that kind of relationship. So it was never nothing, saying that, hey, we're going to be exclusive. It's just going to be you and I. It wasn't none of that. But then, yet, when I meet somebody that I'm interested in, now you want to say something. It's too late now, So that kind of broke that off. We didn't leave each other on bad terms. We still kept in contact with each other. He'd text me for my birthday and things like that. And I think he's married now. I think he ended up getting married. And I haven't heard from him in a couple of years. And then I had another guy was actually a police officer. Me and the same friend that we was bar hopping with had went to a club, and this particular club that night that we went, it was actually full of cops. Full of cops. And she can spot a cop like in a minute. Full of cops. And so he and I started talking. I had asked him if he wanted to dance. He said he didn't dance and nothing. So we just sitting at the bar, we just conversating. He bought me a couple of drinks and we exchanged numbers, and my girlfriend, when we left, my girlfriend said, she said he a cop. I'm like, how you know? She said, I know a cop. She said it was a whole room full of cops in there, and come to find out it actually was, and he was a cop. So he ended up calling me a couple of days later, and we went out, had a couple of drinks, and got to know each other a little bit, and he became my next friend with benefits. And we didn't be friends with benefits too long. And I'm not going to get into the reason why. That would probably be another topic, but it didn't last long. We still friends till this day, but that ended real quick. And so yeah, he still texts me for my birthday. He'll text every once in a while, hey, how you doing? What you up to? How's life? Things like that. And I may text him, hey, what's going on? You still working? Things like that. And his number in my phone is actually his name and his number. Like I said, it's nothing to hide. If my husband want to go through my phone, he can. There's nothing there. So yeah, I don't even like delete any of the messages and stuff. They're there. So if you want to see them, it's still there. But yeah, that's my friends with benefits situation. Like I said, I've had three. I'm trying to remember if I had another one. I don't remember if I actually had another one. Yeah, so guys, comment down below. Are you friends with benefits? Have you ever, been friends with benefits or what have you? So, of course, I found an article, and this is in Brides magazine. Now, I don't know. I don't see like a date on it. I'm looking. I don't know really how old this is, but it is. Yeah, this is Brides magazine, and it says, "Friends with benefits. What does it mean, and is it right for you?" Friends with benefits, and you may see it as FWB, are non-committal and non-monogamous relationships. So, friends with benefits relationship is one in which two people are physically intimate with one another, yet they are not committed to each other in any way. People involved in friends with benefits relationship clearly enjoy spending time together, but their relationship isn't romantic and no strings attached. Is a friends with benefits relationship right for you? If you are thinking about entering into a friends with benefits relationship, there are a few key points that help you determine if a casual connection is truly beneficial for your every respect. Beneficial for you in every respect. So, before we go further into that, my thing is, if you're gonna have a friends with benefits relationship, first of all, you need to make it clear to the person that you're having this relationship with, saying, hey, this is what it is. I'm not committed to you. Don't come over here if you're not invited. this is where you need to set some boundaries. Excuse me, you need to set some boundaries and let them know upfront what it is. Okay, so it won't be any confusion. And if it is some confusion, you need to say, hey, this is not going to work anymore. I told you from the get go that this is what it is. I only needed you for this when I'm ready or when I call you. Okay, don't just come showing up on my doorstep. You can call me if you need to, and that's gonna be it. That's what it is. You're not living here. You're not spending the night. You're not none of that. You get what you need, and you need to go home. If that's what it is, you need to make it clear. Okay, so why friends with benefits work for some people? Having no strings attached, as in a lack of emotional commitment, emotional investment, or both formal and informal obligations of a relationship can be alluring to people for different reasons. People who have a preference for a non-monogamous relationship, and those who do not have the time for an interest in the emotional effects, time commitment of traditional relationship, might prefer a friends with benefits scenario. Someone who's had a negative experience in a past relationship and isn't ready to open up emotionally can benefit from physical benefits of friends with benefits relationship without sacrificing their sense of safety and in a non-commitment. Individuals that identify as romantic or have a non-interest in romantic attractions may also be drawn to these relationships as with those already in an open romantic relationship only seeking to fulfill sexual needs. Okay, so then the next one says when to avoid friends with benefits relationship. Don't agree to a friends with benefits relationship because it's the only thing that your potential partner is willing to do. In order to avoid heartache in the future, you have to fully understand what you're signing up for in the present so that this relationship doesn't leave you feeling unfulfilled or unimportant. While it is certainly possible for a friends with benefit relationship to transition into something more over time, you're likely heading for a heartbreak and you're likely heading for a heartbreak if this is your goal from the outset. And if this casual connection prevents you from pursuing a committed relationship that you see for yourself in the long term, your friends with benefit connection may set you back romantically. So, if you are looking for a real relationship, if you're dating to end up being someone's husband or wife, then you don't need to be in a friends with benefit relationship because the other person is not looking for that. This is strictly physical, it's strictly sex. It's no commitment, it's no love, it's no romance, it's strictly dickly sex, that's it. Okay. So if you're looking for something more, then you need to not get in that kind of relationship. Like I say, you need to be upfront with the person that you're planning on doing this with. Okay. Tips for a healthy friends with benefits relationship. If you want to be in a friends with benefits with someone, it's important that you enter into this kind of relationship with the full understanding and acceptance that this means for what this means for both of you. This person isn't your significant other, and this can have both its advantage as well as disadvantages. Depending upon your current wants and needs, it's important to recognize that this person isn't going to be able to provide you with emotional support and care that you are typically demonstrated by a partner in a committed relationship. That may include more intimate activities such as crying on their shoulder, attending family events, or going on a formal date. To keep the peace and avoid disappointment, set expectations. from the start and keep the conversation open and ongoing to ensure that both of you are on the same page. That's why I said be upfront with the person. Let them know, hey, this is what it is. I don't want nothing else, nothing more. That's it. Set ground rules and boundaries. In order for a friends with benefits relationship to work out, it has to fulfill everyone's expectations. You may enjoy being intimate, but these types of relationships can only be successful if you're both completely content with the arrangement. As with any sexual interaction, can open dialogues about what sexual behaviors are accepted and what are off limits. Mutual consent should never take a back seat regardless of how casual a fling may be. Similarly, if you have a platonic relationship outside the bedroom, you will need to set clear guidelines on how you will interact, if at all, when not between the sheets. Communicate thoroughly. When you enter a friends with benefits relationship, you should discuss the nature of your connection openly and honestly right from the start, and continue to have that open line of communication throughout the duration of your relationship. To avoid confusion, hurt feelings, and misread signals, you should be totally forthright and in a complete accord with each other about the nature of the relationship and the forthcoming if anything has changed for you. So they're saying the same thing that I was saying, is keep the lines of communication open. If you feel like you are having feelings for this person and that person is not feeling the same way for you, then it's time to move on, because now you're looking for something other than just a physical relationship. Okay. Agree on the duration. Agreeing Agreeing on the duration of your friends with benefits relationship from the outset will save you from any painful or awkward moments later on. Come to a mutual decision of the length of this relationship, whether it's for a certain amount of time or a set. Come to a mutual decision on the length of this relationship, whether it's for a certain amount of time or set to terminate once one of you finds a long-term connection. Also discuss the possibility of dissolving the relationship without any hard feelings. If one of you feels it's just not a good emotional or lifestyle fit. For instance, if your friends with benefits relationship makes you happy in the moment, but then later feels you with regret and disappointment, it's not the right choice for you. You should be able to have an honest conversation and an exit strategy with your friends with benefits partner. Be clear about additional casual sexual partners. If you are thinking about entering a friends with benefit relationship, it's important to keep in mind that your connection isn't a monogamous one. In fact, either of you is free to date more people, have other friends with benefit relationships, or play the field as much as you like. That's just nasty. That's just nasty. But people do it. Okay. In addition to protecting your physical health, it is important to protect your emotional health by understanding what your friends with benefits relationship can end at any time and for any reason. You may agree to discuss other partners with one another or choose not to know details. Either way, both of you need to set parameters around the use of protection and getting regularly tested for STI. Yeah, that's just nasty. But like I said, people are actually doing that. People are having more friends with benefits relationships, and they are having unprotected sex. That's just not good. Not good. Okay, so here in Relish magazine, they have It is 15 rules. It says, can friends with benefits really work? 15 rules for mess-free arrangement. Rule number 1 is make sure you're emotionally mature enough to be friends with benefits. Having emotional maturity also means that you are able to evaluate your own wants and needs before getting sexually involved with a friend. Think about what you really want out of your relationship with them. Are you the type of person that can handle casual sex? Not everyone is. Knowing this about yourself is important because embarking on a friends with benefit relationship so that you can protect yourself and your friendship. Number 2 is don't become friends with benefits with someone you already have feelings for. Ooh, that would be dangerous. Okay, a successful friends with benefits relationship will end when the relationship is no longer serving one or both of you, or when one of you starts dating another person more seriously. You should not go into a friends with benefit relationship expecting or hoping for it to become something more serious. Most friends with benefits do not end up with you dating your bed buddy. For this reason, you should not become friends with benefits with someone that you are already into. If you agree to just sleep together, you should not expect them to wake up one morning and reciprocate your feelings. And if you are sleeping together, your feeling uh, for the other person will probably only become stronger, which can make the situation even more difficult. Yeah, so if you already have feelings for that person, don't sleep with them, especially not just casual sex, because it's gonna end up bad on your part because they're not gonna feel the same way about you that than you do with them. Okay, number 3 said choose your partner wisely. The ideal friends with benefits is someone that you are physically attracted to but not emotionally attracted to. In addition to sexual chemistry, it is important to choose someone that is honest. Successful friends with benefits relationship take a lot of communication and trust. So it's important to choose your partner wisely. At the end of the day, you also need to consider what will happen if a friends with benefits relationship doesn't work out. Do you really want the risk of changing the dynamics of a friend group by sleeping with your pal on the off chance that it doesn't work out? Sometimes it's better to keep a playful friend group. Um, filtership rather than pursue a sexual relationship with a friend. And other times, sleeping with your buddy totally works out. Everyone operates differently in all group. Oh my goodness. Everyone operates differently and all friend groups have a different dynamic. Just make sure that you are considering all the factors when deciding to become a friend with benefits with someone. Next one say don't be all lovey-dovey. If you are in a friends with benefits situation, do not act like a couple. This might be the golden rule of successful friends with benefits relationship. Don't hold hands, don't smooch in public, don't go on dates, don't practice PDA. In general, just don't be lovey-dovey with your sex friend. It's important to keep things in the bedroom so you don't start developing feelings for them. If you start doing coupley things with your friends with benefits, then you may start to develop feelings for them. Even if they are not your even if it's not your intention, it's only natural to start feeling for someone if you spend a lot of time together, especially if you are already being sexually intimate. So try to avoid this situation altogether. Okay, and number 5 says avoid sleepovers. Along the same lines as the last piece of advice, you and your friends with benefits should avoid sleepovers. Along the same lines of the last piece of advice, You and your friends with benefits should avoid having sleepovers. After having sex, leave. Cuddles and spooning fall squarely into activities for couples and should be avoided if you want your friends with benefits relationship to work. As does pillow talk, which can often get very intimate. As nice as it is to wake up next to someone in the morning and potentially having morning sex, that is an intimacy that you should try to reserve for serious partners. This is not to say that you need to kick your friend kick your friend to the curb as soon as you finish having sex, but you should be wary of the sleepover as they might add complications to casual relationship. So guys, yeah, I was saying the same thing. Don't do any sleepovers. Be clear, be 100% clear on what you want, because it can potentially be dangerous. Because you can fall for the person or the person can fall for you, and it can just go totally left. So be very, very clear on what you want. Okay, number 6 says, be transparent about your sex life and be safe. Friends with benefits relationships are not typically exclusive, which means that you and your friends are probably seeing a couple of different people. When you first begin a friends with benefits relationship, you need to know you and your new boo should talk about whether or not you plan to sleep with other people. When you talk about your boundaries, um, during this discussion, you should talk about how you plan to practice safe sex with each other and other people. It's not necessary to disclose the other person that you are sleeping with unless that makes you and your partner more comfortable. So, as long as you are on the same page about your expectations and protection during sex, it's super important that you are both transparent about your sex lives and that you are participating in safe sex. In addition to condoms and other forms of protection, it's a good idea to set up a routine STI screening so that you do know your status. Number 7 says set expectations at the beginning. Um, being in a friends with benefit relationship requires a lot of potentially awkward or blunt conversations. Why we mentioned that bit of emotional maturity, you and your friends with benefits should talk about the expectations for your relationship at the onset. At the very beginning, you should be talking about to your friends, say, hey, like I said, set boundaries. This is what I'm looking for. We're gonna use this protection. I mean, yeah, that's cool. That's I mean, if you adults and you doing this, then those are the things you should be talking about anyway. Um, where was I? Okay. We understand that not everyone is into scheduling, but it can be helpful to talk about what your friends with benefits relationship will look like from the outset. Do you want a standing hookup on Wednesday nights, or do you want things to be more spontaneous? Excuse me. Are you down with flirty texting, or is that crossing the line? Do you expect to be in this one? Do you expect to be in this for the foreseeable future, or are you moving across the country in 2 months? Talking about all these things at the beginning will help make sure that you and your friend are on the same page. Number 8 says expect the bare minimum. In addition to setting expectations in the beginning, it's a good rule of thumb to set expectations as low as possible. A friends with benefits relationship won't come with any bells and whistles, so don't expect a birthday present, a Valentine's Day card, or a bouquet of flowers at any point. Keeping your expectations low, yes, even lower than the expectations you set in the beginning, will prevent you from getting overly invested in your casual relationship, and it will prevent you from getting jealous or upset if your friends If your friend blow you off or doesn't prioritize you, expect the bare minimum. Will be Expecting the bare minimum will also help you avoid falling in the trap of catching feelings. Number 9 says set boundaries. We talked about the setting boundaries already. Number 10 says prioritize the friendship part of your friends with benefits over the physical. At the end of the day, remember that you should be friends with your friends with benefits. A friends with benefits relationship is not just a random hookup, and it is important to keep up a good relationship with one another outside of the bedroom. Because a friends with benefit is not a long-term thing, you should focus on being able to keep your friendship alive even if the benefits part of the relationship comes to an end, which it will eventually. You don't need to spend a ton of time together to maintain your friendship, but focusing on keeping things fun, lighthearted, and playful will help you prioritize the friendship part of over the physical. Okay, respecting each other's expectations and boundaries will also ensure that you stay on good terms throughout your friends with benefits relationship and after it's over. It is totally possible to stay friends with someone after you have hooked up with them, whether it's one time or many times, as long as you maintain a mutual respect for one another. It can sometimes take a bit of time to transition from hooking up to being friends again, but keeping the idea of friendship in your head through the hooking up stage will help you transition when the time comes. Number 11 is communicate. We've talked about communicating. Number 12 is don't be jealous. Like we mentioned, your friends with benefits will likely be sleeping with or pursuing other people as you will. It's important not to let the feelings of jealousy get in the way of a good sex partner. Possessiveness is not a good color on anyone in any type of relationship, but especially in a friends with benefits situation when you are decidedly not exclusive. It is up to you and your friends with benefits partner whether you want to know the specifics of each other's sex lives. I don't know if I want to know that. I don't think I want to know who else you've been messing around with. I will know that you are messing around with somebody else, and we will keep plenty of condoms around. Plenty. Okay. It is important to know if you are the type of person that gets jealous. Some people are, some people are not. And discuss your boundaries with this in mind. Creating honest boundaries can often minimize the amount of jealousy partners feel in friends with benefits relationship. So again, they're talking about boundaries. The boundaries should be discussed at the very, very beginning. So I think that is very important. Number 13 is don't stop dating. Number 14 is understand. Okay, number 14, understand that they are also dating. Number 15, don't forget why you started. Let's see what they say. At the end of the day, friends with benefit relationships are about sex. Make sure that you and your friend are having fun sex together. Friends with benefits relationship are a great way to explore different types of sex and to get creative. Focus on the fun and the carefree part of the relationship and make sure that your needs are being met in the bedroom. So this was pretty interesting. So as you notice, some of them I didn't read because we talked about it already, such as the communications and the boundaries. Yeah, I think this was a really good article. This was in Relish magazine, and the first one, I believe it was in Brides magazine. It doesn't have a year on here, but yeah, it's It's a good article. So yeah, what do you guys think about the friends with benefits? Comment down below. What do you think? Have you had them? Have you been in them? Would you get in them? Yeah, so leave your comments down below. And we're going to end this conversation right here. I want to again say that this is an adult conversation, 18 and over. So if you are listening to this in the presence of children, please send them to another room, or put in your headphones or whatever it is that you have. So like I said, leave your comments down below about the friends with benefits, because I do want to recap the episodes, y'all. This is episode number 5, and I want to recap these episodes. So I want you all to comment down below. Let me know what you think. Like I said, have you been in a friends with benefits relationship? Would you get in one? If you was in one, how did that work out? Let me know, how did that work out for you? Are you all still friends to this day? Did it end badly? Did someone, fall for the person? Or, do you know someone like that? Let me know. So, like I said, we're going to end this right here. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Adults After Dark. This is episode number 5. I will also link episodes 1 through 4 in the description box down below, and probably in the iCards, so you'll find it somewhere. So if you haven't checked those out, go ahead and go back and check those out. And also, guys, if you like these kind of topics, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, so you know that every time a conversation is uploaded. Also, I would love to have some topics for you guys to suggest some topics. So put that down in the comment box as well, if you have some topics that you want to talk about. Okay, guys, I will talk to you all next week. Bye.